If you found this podcast, chances are you're a high achiever and you're successful. But now you're stuck and stressed, and you realize that everything you've created hasn't given you the fulfillment and the joy you thought it would. This is where we discuss the keys of high performance mindset and stepping into the next best version of yourself. Welcome to the Positive Persistence Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Positive Persistence Podcast. Today we are joined by financial expert JT Thomas. But JT has wore many hats before he actually entered the world of finance, and has a story of overcoming adversity and holds a PhD in FIO, which I call an advanced degree in figuring it out, which has helped him get to where he is now. So JT, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm super excited about this conversation and just seeing who I can help motivate. And I love the acronym Figure It Out, because sometimes that's what you just got to do, man. You just got to figure it out.
That's right. You got a FIO, and you are the epitome of that. And I want to jump into your story. And there are so many, I think, lessons to be learned about some of your experiences that you've had in life. And then I also want to tap into some of your financial expertise, especially for entrepreneurs out there or people thinking about starting a business and things that they need to kind of think about that they may not have any clue that they need to know before jumping into business. But before we get into that, let's kind of back the bus up and give us a little bit of a background of JT Thomas. Maybe starting with, childhood and growing up and going up to school and getting into college.
Yeah, local kid to Florida, from Orlando, Florida, born and raised. I actually still live here. Whenever, Florida's a melting pot. So whenever you find somebody from Florida, they always say that we're a unicorn, because most of the time,
people are from somewhere else.
Floridians leave. Yeah. So born and raised in Florida, was fortunate enough to play multiple sports in high school. Earned a full athletic scholarship up to Illinois State. Back when, high school kids actually had to put in, I won't say they don't have to put in work now, but it's definitely different in the space. And I'll talk more about that later. But earned the scholarship up to Illinois State. Redshirted my first year. Yep. Played football, defensive end and tackle. I'm that crazy person who's screaming off the edge, trying to, rip the quarterback's head off. So loved it. Played all 4 years, started most of them when I wasn't hurt. And then was on track to get drafted, had scouts talking to me my junior year, just through hard work and dedication. Ended up running pro day for, the Jet Scouts, ran a 4.740 at 275 pounds, kind of got on everybody's radar. And, I thought I was going, man. And, God had other plans for me though. Come senior year, play, season's going great. Third game of the season. I remember like it was yesterday, just how everything kind of played through my head. Quarterback rolls out. I go after him. All-American tackle. Offensive tackle comes out and just chops me down, and my ankle pretty much kind of folded on itself and was just hanging. And right then and there, I knew it was done.
Here we are. You're 18 years old, 17 years old?
When I went up to college, 17. By my senior year, what would I have been? Probably like 21.
Now you're in your early 20s, poised to go to the NFL, and you have this career-ending injury. Like, where's your head at that point?
Man, so many things go through your head in moments of like adversity and anguish that, aside from all the adrenaline that was pumping through my veins, I knew that, my season was over, and I knew I had so much adrenaline in my system because I was like literally probably sitting on like the 30-yard line, and I threw my helmet 20 yards from sitting down on the ground. I just like chucked it. So I was steaming mad for sure. And I remember them coming to pick me up off the field. I was just like, man, I can't believe this. Like, I had everything figured out. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to finish the season. I'm going to ball out, start training. I'm going to go to the NFL. I'm going to take care of my mama and everybody around me, the whole story. And I just remember sitting on the sideline because they had to kind of get things prepared for me to go to the hospital. And I remember looking at my teammates and they're staring at me like, man, like, we can't believe it. Like, like, what do we do now? And I think in that moment, I just kind of like broke down because as a football player, you got to be hard and, your aggression's always up and you can't let nobody know that you're crying or soft or anything. So I think in that moment, everything just released and just broke down crying. Coach came over and grabbed me, gave me a hug, and they're taking me off to the hospital. And this part right here is like kind of what shaped me moving forward in life. So I'm sitting in the back of the van. They're getting ready to take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I get on the phone. I call my mom and I tell my mom, hey, mom, like, she's down here in Florida. I'm up in Illinois. I'm like, hey, I'm done playing football. Just had a season-ending injury. I'm done. And just in, just straight single mother, hard fashion, my mom goes, you know, you weren't going to play football forever. And I was like,
Dang.
Mom, I didn't want to hear that right now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
know
want to
that's
hear.
right, but dang.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, Mom, I got to call you back. So I hang up with her. And as soon as I hang up with her, and just so everybody knows, I'm a believer in Christ. Man, it was a cloudy day, and it was like a spotlight just kind of shined on the van. And in that moment, I just heard like just a whisper or a thought. It's like, hey, don't worry. I got bigger plans for you. This is not it. And in that moment, like the weight of everything just was gone, man. I was like, I wasn't upset. I was at peace where I was at.
Yeah.
To the point where when I got to the hospital, I'm sitting here joking with nurses and my foot's just kind of hanging on by skin. And I'm super just content. And I think that is when God really showed me like, hey, like, I know you got plans, but my plans are greater and I got you. Like, if you believe, I got you. So, with that, still to this day, my teammates call me up. It's like, man, like, I still don't understand how like you're not mentally broken because a lot of athletes struggle with that identity thing. And, I'm just very fortunate and blessed that I had that moment. I had that opportunity to be at peace because it did allow me to kind of further my career and look at other things and help people in other ways.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that about identity because I think not only athletes, but just people in general struggle with the identity thing. And usually it takes a crisis or some sort of stress or strain for us to really put ourselves out there to change our identity. For those of us who don't have that crisis situation, but we want to change our circumstances, we want to change our life, we have to do some things to change our identity because that then changes our behavior, which then changes the outcomes of our actions, which then change our life. But for you, you had a pretty drastic circumstance where in one instance, you're thinking, I'm going to NFL, I'm going to live the dream. And then in the next second, boom, career ending injury and life changes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So now football's over. You finish college and like, now what? Yeah. I would think like anyone who
Life.
knew you at that point was probably like,
Yeah.
JT, now what are you going to do? Like your plan was to go play ball. What you going to do now?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, after that, it just kind of, there was one stage immediately following the injury and then kind of getting back on my feet that really helped shape my passion.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was in college, I started training at our team doctor's sports training facility, and in there they had back in the day, it used to be called FAST, Frappier's Acceleration Speed Training. So this was back in the early 2000s where they had high powered treadmills that went up to like 28 miles an hour. And like you're on these things cooking, just working on top speed. So I did that for 4 years. And to be honest, that's how I was able to get, a 275-pound body to move that fast.
Yeah.
And, after my injury, they actually offered me a job. And I remember like, man, like this is so much fun. Like we had middle school kids that would come in, high school kids. And literally I've been doing the same program for 4 years. It was just like plug and play. So I say that because that's kind of where I was like, man, I could really get into this fitness thing. Like I like training athletes. I like pushing them. I like being around them. I think I can do this. So fast forward, I leave that college town, and I come back home, and somehow or another, I ended up in massage therapy. Don't ask me how, probably for the wrong reasons, but I get into massage therapy.
Yeah.
Go to massage therapy school, go that route, and start doing, house calls and stuff like that. Figured out it really wasn't for me. I think it takes a unique individual who, I don't know. It's almost like therapy. Like, I don't think people realize the energy transfer that happens when, you're massaging somebody. That therapist is literally absorbing whatever stress, whatever, anything that you have going on, that's going into them. And then, what do they do with it? So they have to learn how all this stuff, but not to go down the rabbit hole. I got done with that career. It wasn't for me. In the midst of all that, got into sales and cellular phone sales and managing stores and all that stuff. And that led me to starting my own company, sports performance training company back in 2013. So from there, just training local people. I was blessed and had the opportunity to train out at this fully like groomed football field that really wasn't being utilized.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I ran my business from, out in the football field for like 2.5 years. People would come out from all walks of life, tons of people that I went to high school with. And I just I was fortunate enough to build a community and not using really any weights like, bands, sandbags, just running. And I was able to get some great results. And then that led to the Orlando Predators using that same field and just, at the right place at the right time and God making the connections, was able to become the strength and conditioning coach for the Orlando Predators.
So for those who don't know, who are the Orlando Predators?
Orlando Predators are Orlando's Arena One team. So, they play against like the Arizona Diamondbacks, I think it's New Orleans Voodoo. They're in that top Arena One league.
So we're talking about arena football.
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
Arena football.
You went from wearing the massage therapist hat to the
Yeah.
cell phone store manager hat.
Yep.
And you didn't really mention you just decided like those things aren't for me. I'm gonna just jump into the strength and training company. I'm gonna start that.
Yeah. So I remember sitting at the Sprint store and I had got anxiety one day because they wanted me to cold call people. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Like legitimate. Like, what am I doing? I'm calling people, trying to convince them to buy something they don't want.
Yeah.
I could be doing so many other things with my time and just my gifts. I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit and I'm going to start a business. And everybody thought I was crazy. They were like, you're going to do what? Like, how are you going to make money? What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who doesn't have your vision or your dream or your passion, they're scared for you. So they're going to, unbeknownst to them, they're talking down to you on it because, genuinely they don't want anything to happen to you. At that time, I was so convinced and prayed about it. And God put everything in alignment for it to happen and just went for it.
I think there is a pearl of wisdom in there for not only entrepreneurs, but people who are chasing their vision or want to start to create their dream or the life that they love. And it's don't seek advice, seek counsel.
Yes.
Because when you seek advice, you're asking the people that are closest to you. It could be your family members, could be your best
Yeah.
friends who, again, like you said, they're worried for you. So they're going to try to talk you out of it because they don't know your vision. They can't see it. They don't know your passion. They can't feel it. And when you seek advice, sometimes that's what you get. You get people trying to pull you away from your dream because they're trying to protect you, but they're not helping you. So that's when you have to seek counsel. And that's when you're looking for a coach or someone that's doing the thing that you want to do that you can talk to and ask those people for advice. Right?
Absolutely. 100%.
And being in the fitness industry myself, I understand like when you decide I'm going to start a fitness business. Well, now you have to find your clients. It's not like going to work where the work is waiting for you to do. Like you got to create the work, you got to do the work, you got to make sure that you are, getting your clients results so they come back. That is no easy task. But again, you have a PhD in FIO, so you figured it out. And in doing so, you're able to create a great relationship with a pro team, and boom, now you're the strength and conditioning, or you were the strength and conditioning coach for the Atlanta Predators. Okay. All right. So now you're training the Predator. You've got your strength and conditioning company, and now you're brought on as a strength and conditioning coach for a professional arena football team. Where does the story go from there?
So I did that for a few years. Not much monetary value out of it. It was more publicity and just having the notoriety, being on ESPN, having, your sign on national TV was cool. And really the experience, like how many opportunities do people get to be in that type of environment? So, from there, like anything, training ebbs and flows, during that period of time, met my wife. So, wife's like, hey, like money's looking funny. Like some months you're good, some months you're not. So, did training for a few more years and just through relationships and things like that, was able to connect with my old football coach from high school. He was at a local school, private school, started training the athletic director, and lo and behold, a position opened up as a PE teacher. And I was like, man, I wonder if, training, you got to have a place to put the people, right? You got to have a facility.
Yep.
But I didn't have the resources or, the financial backing to get that. So I was like, I wonder if I could become this teacher and also get the facility. So, had to figure it out. So came on, ended up becoming a PE teacher. Fortunately enough, I had a degree that was kind of in line with being a PE teacher. And then I just started my journey on becoming a teacher, getting my licensing and all of that stuff, but still training on the side and just using their facility. So that's how I made the transition from, owning my company to actually becoming a teacher.
So now you're a teacher and but you're still running your business. You're just using the facility of the school.
Yep.
What time frame are we talking about? What year is this?
So started my company in 2013. This is 3 years later. So 2016 is when I became a teacher. For 3 years, just grinding, growing the business. Had some, consistent clients. Just wasn't making it like I would like. And I was like, all right, I have to pivot. I have to, figure out a way where I have this wife. I got time. I got to figure out time management, and being a teacher just seemed like it checked both boxes. I had structured time, probably train in the morning, train right after school, and still be able to make the consistent income that I needed to while still doing my training.
Right. And making time, that brings me to a quote that I heard you say, and I got to look it up here because I want to make sure I get it right. And it's this: if you don't allocate your time, somebody will allocate it for you.
Yep. That's it.
So for you, what does that mean?
Yeah, because if you're just kind of going with the wind and just, my wife calls it being a yes man. If you don't value and honor your time and have boundaries, somebody's going to find something for you to do that rolls within their time. And, the more boundaries and, disciplines you put in place to not only respect your own time, but others' times, people will respect that. So, having that discipline to be like, okay, this time's allocated for this. And no matter what anybody says, does, I'll see if I can help them. But right now, this time's allocated for this. That's what it is.
And I think that's a huge lesson for any of us who are, again, chasing our dreams, who may
Mhm.
be in business for ourselves, or maybe you just have a super busy life. I can vouch, 5 boys got us running all over the place. But
Mhm.
it is so important to allocate your time. It is so important to do time blocking. So you are saying, I'm going to work on this task for this
Mhm.
amount of time, and then I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to work on something else. And if
Absolutely.
you don't have that guarded, if you don't guard your time, like you're saying, someone else or something else will steal it. So it's
Yep.
super important to be dialed in and know what you've got to do, like before your day begins. Like you've already
Yes.
got your day planned out on what you're going to achieve, so you can work towards that. It's time to ask yourself, when was the last time you prioritized you? Did you know that research shows that nearly 85% of high performers struggle to maintain a performance mindset while juggling the demands of work and personal life? Those who actively prioritize their performance mindset and personal growth are 30% more likely to achieve their goals in business and life. If you're feeling crippling stress and anxiety, or if you're feeling guilty when you take a moment for yourself, or if you're stuck in the grind and feeling burnt out, you're not alone. Many of us yearn for more, but struggle with the fear of being judged or feeling selfish. And you want to step into the next best version of yourself. That's why I created the Rinse Method, which got me from paraplegic to marathon runner. Backed by science-based proven strategies and now customized for high performers like you. If you're stuck and stressed and want clear steps that you can implement today to move forward, make sure you visit thepositivepersistence.com to download our free Rinse PDF. Let's get back to the timeline here, because I know that, 2016, we're talking about you're a teacher, you're training people in the facility, and we all know what comes 4 years later. It's 2020. And we all know what
Yeah.
happened in
COVID.
2020. And for us in the fitness industry, wow, did that hit hard. And you
Oh, yeah.
really needed to be steeped in
Mhm.
FIO. You used the word pivot a couple minutes
Yes.
ago. I mean, talk about having to pivot at that point in time. So what happens now for JT? 2020 hits and COVID blows everything up.
Yeah. So fortunately enough, within that time frame, I actually transferred to a public high school with about 3,500 kids up here in North Central Florida.
Mhm.
And, I just feel like all of my experiences kind of prepared me for the next challenge or the next thing that was coming down the line. So,
Yeah.
pretty much from 2016 until 2020, I was already using technology in terms of training, all my programming. Kids were using cell phones to do all of that. And COVID hit, and I didn't miss a beat. Still able to teach. Was teaching my class, my PE class, using software called Team Builder. And Team Builder allowed me to program for everybody. There's videos, and was able to still be able to operate and do my job, which a lot of people weren't so fortunate with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
Just overnight, their sense of livelihood and everything taken from them. So
Right.
um, definitely fortunate in that aspect, and was able to work through that. Even had so much time, right? Just programming and everything's already done ahead of time. I started doing Uber just to get out of the house.
Yeah.
just to stay busy and just to keep my mind sharp and not go crazy with staying in the house. So yeah, that happened during COVID. And once COVID, passed and the kids got back into school and everything, it was still the same thing. We were practicing distance and stuff, but was still able to
Mm.
operate and manage training and doing all those things.
And I know that you still have some clients that you train, but
Mm-hmm.
training clients is not your main thing anymore. You have now put on another hat,
Yes.
which is in the finance world. So how did we jump from PE teacher, strength conditioning coach
Yep.
to finance expert?
Great question. And funny enough, the timeline kind of falls right in line. So 2021, we're back in the classroom, education's doing weird stuff. And honestly, I just got burnt out. I was just tired of the kids not mattering to the people who make the decisions. You got the people down here day to day working with kids, they all got different situations, backgrounds, all this stuff. And to give them some sense of consistency and support and love, man, that's all the kid wants. So, 2021, I was just like, you know what? I'm tired of fighting with adults over, being there for the kids. So literally God put it on my heart. He's like, hey, I want you to get into accounting. And I'm like, accounting? I'm like, well, I don't have any background. I don't have anything. Like, I don't know anything about accounting. I've ran a couple of businesses within those years, but I was like, all right, cool. So I literally remember the day speaking to my brother and I spoke my position into existence. I said, hey, I'm going to find somebody, an accounting firm, that's going to give me a shot. I have no background. I work hard. I'm driven. I learn fast. Give me the opportunity and I'm going to kill it. And lo and behold, a few months later, was able to meet the owner of this local accounting firm who was forward minded and just full of energy. He brought me on board as his operations manager, mind you, no accounting background or anything. And, you know, 3 years later, I'm still here at the firm, helping grow it. Back then, I think we had 15 to 20 people. We now have a firm of 50. So just being a part of that and watching growth and just having the opportunity to showcase my abilities, despite what people say, oh, you have to have this degree, you have to have this certification. I'm a prime believer that our experiences in life prepare us for the things that are ahead.
Yes.
And nobody can take that away from you. And you can use it in whatever capacity that is in front of you. Like you, just because you don't have a degree, say in like, I don't know, like whatever industry, doesn't mean that you can't do it. So everybody learns a skill set over time. Nobody just comes out of the womb and like, oh, I'm a CPA and
Right.
that's what it is. So everybody starts at the bottom and learns and just drives and all of those things. So yeah, if I could tell anybody anything, like look deep, look at your abilities, look at your gifts, and go out there and just apply it to whatever you feel passionate about, you feel driven to do, that gets you out of the bed in the morning, and just go out and crush it.
That makes so much sense. It almost doesn't make sense.
Right.
The simple, like
Right.
you have so many life experiences that if you are paying attention, you're learning those lessons
Yeah.
that you can, really cultivate your own experience of whatever you want to achieve because you have in some way, shape or form done the things that you want to do in the future in the past. You got to put that together along with your belief
Mm-hmm.
and press forward. Now, I want to tap into some of your financial wisdom because I heard you say
Yeah.
this before, and we're talking about now people who are going out chasing their passion or that they want to turn their passion into a job or a business, right?
Right.
And you've heard the saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life, or but
Yeah.
something you said struck a chord with me because it makes sense, right? It's reality. You say doing what you love because you're passionate about it is great. But at the end of the day, you still have to provide for yourself and make money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you're not, it's a lot harder to pour yourself into that passion because you're still trying to meet your basic needs, much less cultivate your craft or your passion. Hey, man, when I heard that, I was like, man, I really would have told me that decades ago. So I wonder if you could unpack that for us or anyone who is thinking about, going into business for themselves or thinking about, chasing a dream where they want to turn their passion into a business or something like that.
Absolutely. I actually remember telling you that. So yeah, being in this position, I've had the opportunity and the privilege to see what businesses work, what businesses don't work. I've seen a lot of people make a lot of money, mismanage the money, and a lot of the companies that make money aren't necessarily revolved around passion. Like, just being honest, I don't see, and this is just talking about the industry that we're in, I don't see a lot of trainers that are millionaires and drive a Ferrari or a Lambo and all these different things. Like, but that's not to say, like, if that's your passion and you can make it work for you financially, then absolutely. But at the end of the day, you still have to live. You still, like, you have to be able to remove that financial stress so that you can be passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
And if that financial stress is there, it makes a lot, that passion kind of goes to the wayside, and stuff gets real. Like, you got to figure out, man, how am I going to put food on the table? So, speaking from a business consultant and just giving advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, get a team. You need a team, and teams aren't cheap, right? And what do I mean by a team? You need an accountant. And I say an accountant because most of the time, I know I didn't when I first started my training business. I didn't know anything about bookkeeping. I didn't know anything about keeping records.
Right.
I just knew money was in the account. I'm going to go spend the money because I just made the money.
Right.
And that aspect there was just such a hard lesson to learn, and trying to figure out, like, how in the world do I do this bookkeeping? How do I prepare for taxes and all of these things? Everybody has their gift, and sometimes you have to stay in your lane.
Yes.
People come and hire you for your knowledge and your expertise.
Yep.
They don't come and try to hire you to do accounting work. So why are you doing accounting work?
Right.
Go hire somebody that's knowledgeable, that can give you guidance to lead you down that path. Stay in your lane. So you get a team. I have like 5, kind of, from a business standpoint, 5 members of a team that kind of build out everything. So the first one's an accountant. Second one's a business attorney, somebody who understands the legal structures and different facets of your business. If you're in a high risk industry where, you could get sued for, doing something very minor, you definitely want a business attorney on your side. Next person is a commercial banker. You need a commercial banker on your team where you can learn about loan products, learn about how to expand and grow your business. Somebody that you can go in, and doesn't really cost anything to have them on your team. You're just going to learn how banks lend, and if you're trying to grow and expand your business. So what did I say? Accountant, business attorney, commercial banker, a mentor. You need a business mentor, somebody who has gone through the fire and has done it before you.
Someone who
that can
not give advice.
Yeah,
yes.
Give advice, sound counsel, somebody that can just come alongside you. And sometimes it costs, right? Their time is valuable. And Like I remember paying for a mastermind. I paid $5,000 and I'm like, what am I doing? The amount of time and knowledge and expertise that they have already gone through all the trouble so that you don't have to. I made that money back in less than a year by listening to their sound advice.
Mhm.
And I know it's hard for a lot of people to even fathom that, but man, it just saves on so much time and just energy and effort by having a sound business coach or mentor on your team to help out with that. And
Right.
I'm trying to remember who the fifth one is. Oh, most important one, wealth management. So you want a financial advisor who can tell you how to manage your money. Most of us probably don't do a good job. I know I do. When I see something, I want to buy it. So having that sound financial advisor on your team who can help you grow your money, tell you where to put stuff and, get you disciplined to where you're saving on a regular basis, that builds out the 5-person team from a financial standpoint.
No, I mean, those are words of wisdom. Again, anyone who is looking to step into that arena or even thinking about building out their dream needs to know these things. And again, I wish I would have known these things decades ago when I started my first business, but sound advice. And I just want to say thank you for joining us today and teaching us about FIO and how you can figure things out and how many different times that you may have to pivot in your life before you end up doing what you're either passionate about or doing what you enjoy that can at least create the life that you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
If I could add one more thing, I remember as a teacher, kids are always driven to go to college, and I went to college, so I don't have anything bad against college.
Uh-huh.
But in your journey, you don't know what you don't know. So if I could give any additional advice, go try stuff. Like go immerse yourself in various industries and see if it is really your passion. See if it is really something that you like before just going full tilt into it.
Right.
Because you may get into it and realize, I don't like this aspect of it. I don't, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
This time frame, this doesn't work for my family. Like you can still have a day job and still do other stuff. Like
Right.
they don't take up all your time. They take up most of it, but just be open to exploring stuff. Don't feel like you are stuck. You're only stuck if you stop moving. So if I could give any advice, other than what I've given, go try stuff.
Yeah. You're only stuck if you stop moving. That's right. All right. Well, JT, thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to thank all of our listeners and our viewers for tuning in and remembering, got to stay positive. You have to stay persistent and remember that mindset is everything. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in and being part of the Positive Persistence family. We're having a great time creating this content, and we truly hope it inspires you to embrace positivity and persistence in your own journey. If this podcast episode inspired you or entertained you, scroll down, hit those stars, and leave a comment or two. Your 5-star reviews and shares encourage us and help us grow the show. So until next time, stay positive, stay persistent, and remember, mindset is everything.